este ano, ahm, com a aprovação do nosso doutoramento em desenvolvimento de jogos digitais. Portanto, vamos dar início a esse programa agora no próximo ano, a 15 de setembro. Portanto, este ano de ciência não nos vamos fazer. Temos aqui uns tech days, digamos que mais encostados às áreas da tecnologia biofísica. Temos aqui uma série de convidados, a começar hoje aqui com o Gonçalo, e acho que podem dar aqui, trazer aqui alguma informação interessante para aquilo que é o desenvolvimento desta área. E acima de tudo é isto, ou seja, é sempre um prazer ver este tipo de iniciativas nesta escola, que está conotada desde 1969 como sendo uma escola de design, e se calhar já não é só uma escola de design. Eu acho que isso também é relevante para este tipo de iniciativas, entender isto e ajudar o diário a desenvolver-se, que é isso que é o previsto. Vou dar mais um passo atrás que eu estou sempre com. Mas pronto. Um agradecimento a quem teve aqui o trabalho todo, uns ficaram afónicos, outros acho que tiveram um problema de incêndio no hotel e não dormiram, enfim. Para não dizerem que são sempre os alunos a terem desculpas, não é? Portanto, assim, desta vez temos aqui os papéis invertidos, portanto, dar as boas-vindas aqui também ao Gonçalo. E vamos a isso. Eu vou ficar um bocadinho, está bem? Nós estamos aqui agora numa altura complicada no ano letivo. Esta é a altura em que nós temos aqui um bocadinho mais de stress, estamos a preparar já o próximo ano preparar o próximo ano em maio é esquisito, mas é o que é. Está bem? Muito obrigado a todos.
Muito obrigado. So after the Portuguese, I think I have to do the presentation in English, so I'll start. First of all, I'd like to thank you for being here today. Because of good deed. Yes, it was? No. Is it okay? So, who am I? My name is Gonçalo Andrade Pires. I was born on the 28th of May of 1982, almost 40. I'm expecting to be present or a cake, I don't know. I think there'll be something like that, I don't know. Maybe it's not for me, but I'm the creative executive director of Vision Onset, co-founder and owner of the same company. A little bit about my background. I did my college degree in cinema, video, and multimedia communication. Afterwards, I specialized myself on production and post-production, multimedia post-production. And started working since 2004 right there at the university. I was a monitor for multimedia and animation also, and also an investigator for not the well-known and extinct already autonomous Unity for multimedia. After working there, I started work as a freelancer, doing websites and web-based applications, logotypes and branding. And 2 years later, I started a company which specialized also on websites and multimedia-based apps with our two colleagues. Well, working there for more 2 years, but that was not quite what I wanted to do. I'm more a bit of a creative guy than more of a techie guy, so I wanted to do something else. I restarted working as a freelancer, doing multimedia projects, motion graphic projects, and organizing some events, producing some events. This one, I think it's quite important. On 2011, when the VJ University came here with the United VJs, big guys, huge guys in video mapping all over the world, they came here and administrated the first workshop of video mapping ever since ever made in Portugal, and luckily I've attended that workshop, It was like a few bucks. It was an intensive workshop of 4 or 5 days. It was like 300 euros, I think, at that time, back then. Well, it was a wrap. It was perfect for me, and my mind flew, and I thought about the possibilities of video mapping, what I could do with video mapping, and I thought, yeah, maybe that's it. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do for my life. Till now, at least. So, a little bit about light, art, and technology. Let's talk about it. As you may know, without light, you cannot perceive the world with your own eyes. Of course, there are blind people and visual people, but even those guys or those people can see any kind of light. Imagine if you're dreaming. When you're dreaming, you can see the world, well, as you can see right now. Maybe they see the world and they perceive the world differently, but they do see the light. When you have like a near-death experience, for instance, people say they see the light. So what is the light? Light for me is amazing. And ever since I'm a little kid, I've been amazed and at the same time terrified by light. Why? Not just I like art, I like technology, but one of my passions and one of my greatest passions is history, archaeology, paleontology, and all those kinds of areas, scientific areas. So reading books and reading history, this is not a fact. It's not a myth and it's not a fact. It's not proof that Archimedes actually defeated the fleet of ships, the Roman fleet of ships, with a giant cluster of mirrors projecting the sun's light to the mirrors and then onto the sails of those ships and wrecked the whole fleet of ships. That's amazing. Huge weapon, huh? Imagine. A little bit about video mapping. I think you guys already know more or less what video mapping is about, but I'm going to explain to you basically what video mapping means. Video mapping, it's the art of projecting something onto objects, surfaces, buildings, monuments, whatsoever. And by that process you can project light, traces of light, you can project images, you can project videos, you can project colors, all those kinds of things. For video mapping, one thing that amazes me about video mapping, I wrote here creative side and technological side. As you have imagined already, I'm kind of a geeky, and at the same time I think I see myself as a more creative guy. But in video mapping you need to use both parts of the brain. You have the right brain hand side, you have the left brain hand side. One is the logical part, the other one is the creative part. About my company, okay, fortunately we are a globally award-winning studio. We're a small multimedia studio. Now with the pandemics, even smaller multimedia studio, but we still work with many people, but with receipts, the so-called green receipts here in Portugal. And basically we do visuals for indoor and outdoor live shows and brand events backed up by multimedia systems. Not just only projectors, light projectors, smoke, beams, laser beams, LEDs, LEDs, whatever. LEDs and LEDs, the same thing. Here are two pictures of our small studio. Over there we have was a working project, so you can see the mass. I've cut this part here because it had like 2 cups of coffee and a pizza, but I had to slice it. And here we right now are based in near Expo. We are on a creative hub studio owned by PMP Productions. This is Paul Magalhães. He's a huge producer here in Portugal for performative arts. We have been working with him, of course, and we have a chroma studio. We have backdrops of all kinds. We have lights, all the material you need. And of course, creative minds over there, all around. That's good for brainstormings. So we've been working mostly for agency. As I told you, we are very small, so we need to be backed up with the agencies. I don't know if that's cool or not, but right now it's what we can do. We work for agency and also directly with brands such as big brands Mercedes, Heineken, governmental institutions, Gillette, Longa Vida, MSD Portugal, Volkswagen, Hendrix, AXN, European Union Commission, etc. So I brought you here these two pictures at that time in 2013. I thought it would be cool to take two pictures, and gladly I took them so I can show you the process of our name, Vision Onset. As you can see here, we have like chunks of words on the left side: onset, vision, creation, flux, color, platform, emotion, vision lands. Yeah, and then basically I started doing puzzles with all these words. We got basic words like creative emotion, color flux, and then I got to this name, Vision Origin. Yeah, Vision Origin is quite cool, but not catchy, yeah? Vision Origin. So I got the onset word and put together Vision Onset. It's cool. Let's Google it. Vision Onset. We've Googled it. No other company with that name. Cool. So let's register that name, Vision Onset. For the logo, also cool. Well, in my mind back then, I thought you have two ons, so why not taking this on and putting it like the icon of on, and putting an eye over there, and the logo was like not Vision Onset written, but not here, but Vision, the on logo, and set, S-E-T. The problem was, well, 3 or 4 years later, maybe 5, I've rebranded the logo. Why? Because people always perceive Vision Onset, the logo like that, as Vision Set, and that's not cool at all. So now the logo is like Vision, the I, the logo, which is catchy, and then Onset. And why that name? So Vision, of course, we work with video mapping, we work with projection mapping, we work with lights, and the main sense you can see in perceptual light is about vision. Onset, not on set, on stage, as many of you maybe have asked yourselves, yeah, maybe on set is on stage. And that's quite correct, yeah, we work with stages, we work with shows, so yeah, on set, but that was not the point. It's like onset, a whole world in English, and it means a beginning, onset, the beginning. Mostly onset is used for medicine, and well, it's the beginning. Sometimes it's the beginning of something bad, not the case, I think. For me, it's the beginning of something good, a beginning of a new vision, backed up and supported by technology and art, come together as one. So what we do, basically, we direct, design, and deliver out-of-the-box visual contents for live experience. Simple as that. Now I want to show you our first reel back then, 2015, and then I'll explain why I want to show you this. We had like a naive vision about what was video mapping. We were like full of ideas, and we wanted to show our work. And it's cool to see how we did work that back then and now, and then we'll show you the future. Oh, our vision back then. As you can see, we haven't called it video mapping because in 2015 there weren't many people knowing what video mapping was. We tried to sell the video mapping. All that was video mapping. We tried to sell it as multimedia animations, facade animations, object animations, animated animations, blah blah blah, animations everywhere. You could see the logo, yeah, back then. Maybe you saw Vision and you read Vision Set. That's why we chose the new logo. As for our slogan, we still have this slogan. Of course, our vision back then was different. We animate anything. Yeah, we can animate anything, although some objects or facades are ridiculously insane video mapping, and maybe you don't have the right amount of money to do it. If you would have the right amount of money to do it, yeah, maybe we can. Yeah, we animate anything. Just need the cash. And we reach beyond limits. Yeah, that's true. And the limitations on these fields seem to never end, seem to never be scarce, and that's why I'm amazed about light art, video mapping art, multimedia art, all these kinds of art. The video mapping, I already told you what video mapping is, but yeah, both words are the same. Americans, they wanna have different nomenclatures, I think. So they mostly use projection mapping. Nowadays, I think most countries use video mapping as projection mapping, but they're both the same name, exactly the same. As I told you, it's projecting light, colors, and visual contents onto a surface or object. This is not my word. This is not my word, no, my slogan, my phrase, but I thought it was cool. I put it like that. It's from an unknown author, but I think it's cool. We animate pixel by pixel, brick by brick. The applications of video mapping, you all know: advertising, live concerts, theater and cinema scenarios, museums and exhibitions, celebrations, decoration of spaces, multimedia applications, medicine, and so much more. Alright, yeah, I did like a shortcut before because I didn't have my notes. I'm sorry. I already spoke to you about the brain, but yeah, you have there the icon and the image of the brain, the logical part on the left-hand side and the creative part on the right-hand side. That's not scientifically proved the brain works like that, but as for now, most people, we do think the brain works like that. In video mapping, you cannot dissociate both parts. You need to have always the creative part and the logical part. Why? Because video mapping is a very, yet it's complex because it has loads of technology. You have calculations, you have matrices, you have a full bunch of softwares you need to use. Yet it's easy when you got when you have the skill and when you got it running. You just need, but you always need to have the logical part. The creative part, I think, it's the most important part to do a video mapping, to do a good video mapping. As a creator, of course, I tend to be right-hand sided. As I told you, you cannot be just right or left brain-hand sided. Both parts take important roles in the processes of video mapping. The good old project management triangle. Well, this is not just for video mapping. I think this is for every project. I think we still have to cope and to get that triangle. Ideally, it was cool to have the cost, the time, and the quality field, but unfortunately, it never happens, or it hardly happens. I still have hopes, high hopes, that someday I can do a video mapping with time, money, so I can get a good quality video mapping. In Portugal, unfortunately, most of the times the client has a short budget and the time is insanely limited. Insanely limited. Why? if you work for councils, if you work for a government, that's not the case, but you need to stretch a little bit and you need to go to the advertising area, and that is a crazy area. You need to be a little bit crazy, of course. All the stress is always on top, and yeah, you need to do omelets without eggs. I don't know how we do it. Not just me. The competency also does it. Yeah, but we have to be like warlocks or magicians, or I don't know, jugglers sometimes. At the final stages, video mapping always get to amaze people, and that's cool. For the project example workflow, I brought you here this model, which was Musa's facade. Musa is like the Sintra Museum of Arts. We were called, this was our big, huge video mapping. We had no idea how to do a video mapping on a facade. Theoretically, yeah, it was the same as many of you saw on the workshop. I think you got the picture that, yeah, we can do a video mapping onto a facade. Well, you can do it. I think you can do it, but it's not quite as easy as we may think. And we went to, it was a, I don't know how to call it in English, it was a contest between companies, contest. Yeah, contest between companies maybe, or, yeah. So we had like a limited budget, of course. They gave us 2 values. We had to compete against other companies, so we had to cope and come up with a cheap yet imaginative idea. First of all, we got our asses up to Musa. We took pictures everywhere, even at the top, as you can see, so that we could model the 3D and do all the garnishings and blah blah blahs. We went there and meet the curator of Musa and the director of Musa at that time. They showed us the museum. We took pictures to the work of arts, of course, to the paintings, to the statues, and all that. And then we did, of course, the research, more research and more research and infos. For like, I don't know, maybe for like a week, we didn't know we would win this, but for like a week I was like, and if we win, what are we gonna do? Yeah, I have some cool animations. I can put the building, I can destruct the building, I can construct it again. I can like do like squares and rounds and put the windows flying all over, but well, you cannot do video mapping without a story. And at that time I was, what am I going to do? I'm gonna put the paintings over here, but that's not a story. Inauguration of Musa, what am I going to do? So through the research, looking back to the pictures, let me go forward, then I'll go back again. Looking back to the pictures, I found the Doritas Castelo Branco paintings over there, and I thought, wow, this looks like, no wait, these ones are Doritas Castelo Branco paintings. These ones are cave art paintings, and I thought, cool, that's what we're going to do. We're going to start by doing the history of art from back then to the future in comparison to the history of humanity. Why? Again, like Archimedes and all that, I was studying 1 year of anthropology, and I'm amazed and I like archaeology and all that, so I thought, yeah, I can get my 1 year of anthropology and I can do like a cool story with this. Yeah, this was the main point to start this point. Going back. I'm going for it. Going back. Okay. At this point, we didn't know if we won yet, but we had to do it in a right quick pace, because we had like 20 days most to do everything if we want. So I asked my friend Pedro Durão, architect, to do the AutoCAD of the facade. Then we did the 3D of the facade based on that AutoCAD, and we did the matrices. Here we had, why did I put matrices only after the final 3Ds and the final 3D simplified model? Why did I put this? I was animating some things, and my other friend, my other colleague, Bernard, was animated other things. I did a matrix. He did other matrix. We thought, yeah, full HD, 2 full HDs, yeah, you do the matrix, and then we put it back together, it's okay. It was not the case. We had to get back to actually animate some things right through the beginning, because the matrices didn't match. So when you have the final 3D, you do the UVs, you do the matrix, and you use only that matrix, and don't do other matrices, and don't mess up with the 3D again. It's not well done, okay, no worries, but use the matrix, and work upon that. Here you see the matrix, the AutoCAD, and here you see the 3D model based on the AutoCAD. Of course, you don't need the side walls, you don't need the back walls, you don't need the inside, because we're going projecting upon this. After that, I started writing the script to put the story in the proposal, and I usually, as I'm not good at sketching, well, I am, you can see here you have the facade, it's incredible. Yeah, you can see I'm not good at sketching, and when I try to reach the clients, or I try to show something to the clients, or the animations, for instance, in a rush, I always do what I call a written storyboard. Basically, a written storyboard is a storyboard where I put the animations, the transitions, what I want to put visually. I don't know, for instance, a bird coming from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So, yeah. I try to explain visually the things written by words. And then, yeah, you have the tech diagrams. At this part, you need to work side by side with the audio visuals. As a small studio, we still have those tech guys with us as our partners. They have like huge projectors, 100K tops. No, tops no, 100K up to, I don't know, wherever. But yeah, these guys are superheroes, and neither a video mapping or other audiovisual show works without those guys. You have no lights, you have no sound. Here, if you don't have Nathan, you wouldn't have this happening, for instance. Nathan and the team, of course. So yeah, they're like a huge piece, an important piece in our workflow, and I like to mention it because I think it's important. After this, we already knew, we got the news that we won. It was cool. We liked the written script, so it worked. So at this stage, we have the phase, what I like to call the conception stage of throwing images onto the subject. After that, of course, that I can do. I'm good at Photoshop, I'm good at After Effects and all that. Yeah, I can do a digital storyboard, a cool digital storyboard, and then the client knows what I'm talking about. After that digital storyboard, most of the time, we try to do, or I try to do the digital storyboard the most the closest to my final artwork, so that I don't screw up myself. I'm sorry about the slag. So that I don't get like obstacles and the client saying, hey, let's change this. No, the digital storyboard is almost finished. and yeah, you said it was okay, so we need to change something, okay, but not the whole storyboard. As you can see, yeah, throwing images, throwing images onto the facade, and yeah, the digital storyboard, here it is, and it's quite close to the final work, as you will see later. As it was our first video mapping show, I thought, why not trying to do a small model on the facade so we could see how it worked, or how the video mapping and animations work on the new building, on this model, in this case. So yeah, we had it laser cutted in MDF. I don't know if in English you call MDF, but basically MDF is this. It's like pressed materials. Yeah, and we tested the matrices on the model. And then the final stage was gluing all the chunks, all the seams we had wrapped. And put it back together in After Effects, and then throwing it back to Premiere. And yeah, and in Premiere you do the final effect, visual effects and transitions. Of course, then in Audition you can do the music mixing and editing. And finally, when you have all that done, you go to the sound effects. That's my process, our process. Other companies, I don't know if they have other processes. Yeah, we're artists, so you can do wherever you want. Then, we got to the day of testing. I was like a kid, back again when I was camping with the Boy Scouts. Of course, I haven't slept. I was doing the garnishings and the final touches to the video mapping. No, this is not quite cool. Let me try another thing. Blah, 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 blah. On that day, of course, we only could test it by night. So, and it was summer. It was August. So we started testing it maybe like 8ish or 8 o'clock. But that day before 8 o'clock felt like 1,000 years, like ages. Unfortunately, as I mentioned to you, we had a hard time mapping and meshing. Why? Because we had two matrices. And it was the first time we were mapping this kind of thing. 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. At 5 o'clock and something in the morning, we could have the whole matrix and the video mapping. Well, not finely mapped, but yeah, tuned. You can see here we have the time. I was with the tech, of course, with Rui from the audiovisuals, and at the time he threw the light to the facade. Man, I felt like a god. I swear to you, it's like when you see your I haven't seen my artwork before here, and it's not hard. That there are only matrices and squares, but I was like, this is gonna be huge, and it's a sensation. Why, it's incredible. It's like the world is before you. There you have the projector. The matrix is already done. Me over there, trying to fix the matrices. The other side, the other projector free. The other projector was not quite well. Here, Gonçalo feeling like a god, side by side with the 3 projectors. Yeah, and we did a show. That was a wrap. It was good because we got recognized for several awards globally, and yeah, that got us steamed up to try to do other video mappings, other facades, other things. That was the day of the inauguration. This was a 4-day event, not 4 days. It was 1 weekend, then 1 week without show, and then the other weekend. So the second weekend, of course, things were already different and all tuned up and all fined up because we learned from our mistakes, thankfully. And since then, we did again another video mapping onto that facade in our light festival. At this time, as you can see, the light was not that good because the budget was more limited than the first time. We had like 6K to do all this. So the projectors are not quite good. You see here the MacBook I'm using, it's still the same piece of history I have over there. And yeah, it was like what we could do, but here you can see you can do video mapping, guerrilla video mapping, or wherever, onto quite big spaces with, well, not this facade with that kind of projector, but you can do with a middle-sized projector. It's okay for you to do it. This was for the governmental coinage house. The celebration of the 2019 coins. Here we had every video mapping you do since now, till now, every video mapping you do, you always have. We think we know about video mapping. You never know about video mapping. Every project, every work is an incognito. É uma incógnita. Pronto. Why this? The budget, again, limited. We only had one projector to do 3 facades, three planes, and we had like less than 15 meters to project onto these. So we said, yeah, let's throw like a short throw lens over, a wide lens over here, and the lens is all. When you use those kinds of lenses are not good for video mapping. So the meshes were all messed up, and it was like a nightmare to put this working. Plus, the facade was green, as you can see. Here it works quite well because this was like an effect on black and white and shadows. Here also because this was like black and white, but you had a sky, for instance. Everything we had with another color, the green was overlapping that color. So I had to cope with I have to come up with an idea of getting the color scope and the color spectrum and try to suppress all the green I could so that I could project blue, red, yellow, whatever. This one was for the UNESCO Patrimonial celebrations and back in 2016. It's quite an important video mapping for me because here we had the performative School of Dance Arts of Palmira Camargo. It's important, why? Because I met my wife and we're still together. It was here I met my wife. She was like dancing and doing all those things, and yeah, we fell in love. That's her over there, somewhere. This video mapping was the biggest facade we've made. It's like a 190 meter facade. Yeah. This was for the European Commission, small video mapping, yet really cool. You had like objects over there, and this is a real shelf. We could like create different kinds of rooms over there. You can see all the objects we've mapped here. See? Loads of them. It was a small video mapping, yet challenging. This one, okay, this one was for Hendrix in Oporto. Well, this is not quite a video mapping. You have like 2 projectors. It was an animation. Yeah, you need to map the wall. So here for Almsegem, it's like a model also because they didn't have the money to do the actual video mapping onto the facade of the church. So I came up with this idea, doing like a tunnel of time with 5 rooms, 25 meter tunnel of time with 5 rooms and models, creating a story. And this was for the Mercurio prizes. One cool thing about video mapping is that you can create impact. As you can see, environment, the nature,
concentration camps, and this could be seen by hundreds of people. That's cool. One of the greatest weapons about video mapping, I think. It's that you can show your work and you can create awareness to the people. Yeah, this was a Cape mapping for the 50th anniversary of Dom Pedro's Hotel. Yeah. This one for the 50th anniversary of MSD also. 3 rooms, the shapes video mapped here to North Time. The actual conference room with three canvas. This canvas, the center canvas at the end went up, and underneath it we had like this is a waterfall. It has water. It's like an holographic waterfall. It's quite cool. People weren't expecting it. The canvas went up, and then we projected the hologram. This was for a wedding, Quinta de São Luís, CBRE. We do the annual event for CBRE every time. They're quite cool clients because they let us try things and try cool things. This for the Portuguese Idol, video mapping with a semicircular structure, 3 projectors. This one for the Heineken Silver presentation. This video mapping with actual VJing onto the boxes with the Nanny concert. More of that. This one for Mercedes, the Smart EQ. You may think, what's this? A wig? That was not my idea, but it is a cool idea. You'll see. We did the kaleidoscopes with the parts of smarts, lots of colors, everything going around. Cars dancing like crazy. Yeah, and the wig. Yeah, the shock. This was for commissioned by Paulo Magalhães also. And those guys did like, they electrified the smart, and at some part the wig just got a shock. It was crazy. Guerrilla video mapping. This is my front window view. So I did on the 25th of April of 2020, the first year of COVID. I did a video mapping back at home. And yeah, and with the COVID also, we had to spread our minds over the scenography and digital scenography, which is, the process is quite the same. This is real-time scenarios, and yeah, you do with chroma or with sensors, and you can map the scenarios to the physical objects. And that's it. Thank you. You have my email if you want to get in touch with me, and if you have any questions, I'm available and try to answer the best way I can. Thank you. I'm sorry. I have a surprise. I forgot. Again, no notes. I was like going back and forth. I want to show you the actual video mapping we did in Musa. Isto sem notas, para nada é fácil. Já está tudo todo. Já está. Olha como deixa cheio.
quando o homem emergiu da escuridão, viu criaturas, água, montanhas e vales. No anoitecer, vislumbrou estrelas e constelações. Pequenos pontos de luz abriram portas à sua imaginação. Numa epifania de inspiração, traçou em grutas animais, vivências, mitos e histórias. Ainda hoje, ao olharmos para estes traços de cor rupestres, iluminados por feixes de luz, idealizamos maravilhados um cotidiano diferente, estampado nas nossas memórias. Não se banaliza. Pelo contrário, liberta-se. Os meios parecem infinitos e a criatividade brota da cabeça de cada um como nunca antes. E no futuro? No futuro, talvez a arte se expresse também através de traços, onde, como nos primórdios, a luz inspira e desenlaça linhas e cores que em conjunto criam formas, sonhos e vivência. Isto é futuro. Isto é arte em traços de luz.
Ok, pessoal, com aqui o nosso blog telefónico, vamos fazer uma pausa. A palestra dos Soares vai começar às 6.